This is From the Ground Up, where we talk to entrepreneurs in all different industries and give you the down and dirty about what makes them successful. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and check back every Monday as we drop new episodes.
We live. Well, welcome to From the Ground Up Pod. We have Kyle McFarlane and we have Madalia Maaliki in the house today. Thank you, ladies, for making it.
We're happy to be here.
Yes, super excited for this one.
I am so excited.
Yeah, she's been talking about this for weeks. She's like, I can't wait.
You guys are so badass. Like so badass. But Kyle is the owner of BAM Law Firm, which is a high asset divorce family law.
Yep. We do high asset, high conflict divorce cases.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that comes with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. And then we have Madalia, which is a criminal defense trial attorney. Did I say all that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my gosh. Baddies. So we actually all met through a mutual friend who we love so much. Kyle got started with her.
Yep.
And then Madalia came in and did some damage control as well. And when you, like, it was
just
crazy.
damage. We just did damage.
Yeah, you guys killed that.
But it's so funny because I didn't know. She just said, my lawyers are women. And I'm like, cool. Like, hopefully they're freaking good, right? First and foremost. So, like, I judged. And then I come into the courtroom and I see you guys and I was like, whew.
We looked at each other. We're like, what did we just step
temporary
into?
orders?
That was the first.
Yeah, it was temp-
Yeah.
yes,
It was temp orders. And
Yeah, but you guys were slaying. And Shay and I just looked back and we're like,
but
what
they
are
were
we?
hot. Like, I walked in and you guys were hot. And I'm like, okay, first, and like, this is a misconception on my end. Female, which I love women.
Yep.
But like, you always, like lawyers, I kind of associate with men just because that's who I've worked with in the past.
It's fair.
And then good fucking looking, right?
That's half the battle,
Yes.
honestly.
It really is.
I think I had a pink suit on that day.
You
I think
did.
I had on a bright
You
pink
did.
suit
You did, and
that
I
day.
developed a crush immediately. Like, literally.
She's like, Kyle's going to get it. And I was like, go get it, then.
Yeah. But then y'all got started and murdered it. Like,
Yeah.
literally.
It was fun. It was really fun to watch.
murdered it.
Yeah.
And then my crushes grew even more, and I think I kind of scared y'all a little
We
bit.
loved
And
it. Came on a little strong.
The foam finger was excessive, but we really appreciated it. It's cool.
yeah. But, I mean, you guys ended up, we were at it for a year and a half.
You sent the other lawyer in tears out to the courtroom, and I was like, that's
She
great.
had to chat GPT one of my objection responses. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to help.
It was so good.
But
It was so
after a
good.
year and a half, she was behind. There were a lot of factors against her, and one of them completely gone. And then what
Case
you
dismissed.
did, you got her more than we had ever thought. Fucking murdered it.
And now we're all besties.
Now we're all best fucking
So we
friends,
win.
right? And that's why I'm like, God, they're so badass. And the fact that y'all wanted to be friends with me, my espresso martini drinking ass, like, thank you, pretty much.
No,
but,
thank you.
this is called From the Ground Up. So I kind of want to know, we'll just start with you, Kyle. Like, tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and what made you become an insanely good lawyer.
Let's see. Okay, I grew up in Seattle. I moved to Denver because I played Division I soccer in college. And honestly, like, that's all I ever thought I was going to do was play soccer and be an athlete. And then when I graduated from undergrad, I'm like, oh, shit, like, we don't really love women's sports. And this was back in this was like, early 2000s. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And my dad was like, I don't know. You've always argued a lot with us. So, like, why don't you go to law school? And I'm like, okay. So I went to law school. And I didn't know what kind of law I wanted to practice. I thought I wanted to be, like, a criminal defense attorney. I wanted to do, like, constitutional law or, something. Just, I don't know. Like, who knows? And then I fell into this class that Madalia and I now teach at the law school, but basically, like, advanced trial practice. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, I can
my
do
jam.
this. Like, I can be a trial attorney. It's fitting for my personality. So then I did the trial team, tried out, made it, and then knew I wanted to just do trials. And then I fell into family law. I remember interviewing at this firm, and they were like, well, we're doing a 3-week-long trial in Aspen for this, like, super high conflict divorce. And I'm like, that sounds great. Let's do that. I want to do that. So then I went to work at this law firm, and 2 years there, me and the B and the M of BAM, or the B and the A of BAM, we were like, let's start our own firm. We can do this. I'd been a lawyer for 2 years, started BAM, took my clients with me, and now we've got our 10-year BAM-iversary in August.
That's amazing.
10 years. I know, isn't that crazy?
insane.
10 years.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Good
And
for
now,
you.
how many lawyers or employees do you have under BAM now?
There's like roughly 13 of us, and I manage all of them.
That's a lot.
Probably not well, but you know.
You both won 5280's top lawyers, right?
We did, yeah. Yeah.
What are the classifications for that? Just
It's like I don't know. They're really secretive about how they do it. I think it's a voting process where it's like, you'll see, like, if you go to a nail salon, they're like 5280, like, top nail salon. It's that. And people just voted for us, and
that's
we
amazing.
have no idea how we did it.
Shay loves the campaign, I think.
I know, I really am y'all's biggest fans. I swear. And then we have Madalia.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about you and what
right.
got you into being
So
Bobby.
born and raised in Colorado, grew up in Castle Rock. But my family is originally Palestinian Lebanese, so I've always had the fight in me. I knew I was going to do something where I just wanted to help people. But I, started school. I thought maybe I was going to be a doctor for a little bit, but I'd done mock trial.
Ambitious?
Much. Well, when you're brown, it's either lawyer, doctor, engineer. So I knew I had three options. But I did mock trial in high school, and I loved it. And I was like, okay, this is something to think about, but wasn't sure really where it would go. I did one chemistry lab in college, and I said, no, thank you. This is not going to be what I do. I just like interacting with people, obviously. I graduated, went to DU Law, and that's where I met this one.
That's right, because you went to DU.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was in my first year when she was in her third year. I went in thinking maybe international human rights, which international law doesn't really exist anymore, but that's a discussion for another day. And same thing. I did trial team, and that's really where I found my footing. It felt natural. I felt like I was good at it, and then I wanted to just kind of put that to good use. So I started off at the Adams County District Attorney's Office. I did that for 5 years, got a lot of trial experience under my belt. And then around, COVID, George Floyd times, and actually my office is the one that chose initially not to prosecute the people involved in Elijah McClain's murder. And so it felt very close.
That was the Aurora one, yeah?
Yes, exactly. It felt very close to home for me. So it's just a very emotional time. I felt like I was in the wrong place, and that, being a part of law enforcement, people were not having the discussions that needed to be had. And so I had to decide either kind of working from within it or being on the outside of it. And then that's when I switched to my firm now, Richards Carrington. I've done that for about 5 years now.
So now you're going against the people that you used to work with.
Exactly.
That's fun.
Yeah, they hate to see me coming.
But you know the other side. Damn straight.
But no, I absolutely love it. Most of the time we focus on, violent crime, murder, attempt murder, sex assault, gun cases, some federal white collar, things like that.
So just petty things.
Just,
all the little things.
small
So then how do you two start working together? Like, especially for our mutual friend, do you just pull her in and you're like, I need you on this case?
For that case, we just decided to tag team it. A lot of the times, like, all staff to attorneys, but my clients have an amazing ability to get involved with law enforcement, especially in the middle of a domestic relations case.
It's so true. It's so true, though.
They do. Like, they'll get arrested in the middle of the night. We'll talk about this when we talk about, like, the crazy cases. I got a call from a client who was trying to leave to go back to Russia, where she's from. She gets arrested at the Houston airport. And it was like 11:30, and I had to call Madalia because I'm like, well,
She knew I was awake, obviously.
And she was awake. And so then from like 11:30 to like 2 a.m., like, we're fighting with the cops about, like, arresting her. And she had her, like, 8-month-old son.
Oh, man.
And they charged her with, like, basically, like, an international abduction. An abduction case. And so, like, we just overlap.
And it's really nice. I mean, same thing when you go to a doctor, right? A heart surgeon is not going to fix a broken bone. She is a specialist in family law. I'm a specialist in criminal defense. And so it's nice, if she has somebody that comes to her and says, I need a defense attorney or I need a family law attorney and vice versa.
Right.
We're able to kind of do
sense.
that handoff or work together if need be.
And, like, there's criminal implications, even if there's not a pending like criminal case, like my client might have a potential criminal implication with something. And I'm like, okay, well, we got to talk to Madalia because I don't want you saying that, because you always have a Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself no matter what is happening. So I'll call Madalia. Lock it up.
So, okay, but then you guys met in class how many years ago in DU?
2012.
13? Working on 14?
Yeah,
we met in 20. So I started law school in 2009. So yeah, it would have been.
Because that was my first year, was 2012.
Oh shit, bitch.
And so that same.
That's what we say to each other.
know, we're like, how
we met in
long?
college too, and we're just like 17 years ago, 18.
Yeah.
20, 25.
Yeah.
It's okay. Cheers to your longevity.
Not the longevity.
I had to. But now, so that's where y'all met, and now you guys teach this class now?
We
do.
teach the class we used to be students of. So it's it's really special to kind of give back in that way. And also we want to churn out a good generation of attorneys that know what they're doing in a courtroom. We just, teach them rules of evidence, trial practice, how to look at a case, and then we get to travel with them to national tournaments, which is really cool.
And we're sixth in the country now. The class we teach, our students are ranked sixth.
Are you serious?
Dude, but when I watched you guys, like the amount of knowledge that you knew compared to the other, it was mind blowing. And I'm like, how are these people that bad at their job?
Other side was,
That's a different podcast. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
The other side was supposed to be well known, respected, and
Murdered.
ate him up and chewed it out. Highly impressed. And then they always sometimes I've seen even Kyle in a different case, because I like to go to your guys' cases because I'm a fucking creep. And I'll ask Madalia, and I'm like, hey, do you have any murder trials coming up? I want to sit in.
Girl, come on in.
Be like the creep in the back, But I went to another one of Kyle's, and she actually, I don't know if I should be saying this, but corrected the judge on the fucking judge. And she's like, Judge, no.
Respectfully.
You're wrong. Yeah.
Respectfully.
It wasn't that respectfully. Honestly, I thought she was going to throw me in jail that day. We were fighting about hearsay, and it was obviously I was correct and this magistrate was wrong. Yeah. And I was like, actually, Your Honor, that's not correct. Hearsay has 2 prongs. And she was like, Miss McFarlane. She read me.
Oh, yeah. But I'm like, but she's fucking right, because y'all teach this shit.
I know.
And it's when
That's
Kyle,
funny.
I know I always say this, but Kyle never fully stands and or sits. This is what Kyle.
That
this
makes
is her.
sense.
This is her stand like that. And when she goes like this, I'm like, somebody's about to get screamed.
The lip bite starts happening.
Or the hair flip. I'm like, okay, so let me
little
tell you
thing.
that how wrong you are. But I will say that about trial team, and I think we both really we came up from the trial team from DU, and now we teach there. Yes. But DU really does put out some of the best trial attorneys, in part because obviously we're teaching them. But
to David Schott.
Yes, David Schott is our boss at the Center for Advocacy, and he just teaches he teaches the rules of evidence and how to actually litigate cases. And we tell our students you're going to be better than 90% of practicing attorneys,
and it's not
when you leave. And it's not an exact. You saw it. I mean, those attorneys were billing out at we had to combine $3,000 an hour in that courtroom, and they didn't know what they were doing.
It was wild. It was actually why are you guys even in your jobs? But then in our position too, we get shitty lenders who do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It happens.
For
but
sure.
That's crazy.
So, Mads, I feel like a big part of your job is kind of telling people to shut the fuck up. So
what do we call it?
Shut the fuck up Friday.
Shut the fuck up Friday.
Even on Tuesday. Every day. But shut the fuck up Friday. Correct.
What the hell is shut the fuck up Friday?
All right. It's obviously facetious, but take the advice, people. I think there's this natural, human nature inclination that if you talk to police, it's going to help you in some way, or you want to show that you're being cooperative. The whole point of an interrogation is a fact-gathering process for them to get evidence against you. So always just say, I want to talk to an attorney or have an attorney present. But as soon as you start rattling stuff off, you are locked into whatever you said for the rest of the case if it turns into something. And you can never have that held against you, right? So if you are later in a trial, they can't say, oh, well, they refused to speak to us. And so, these are the things to keep in mind. But, similar on the divorce front, if you say something stupid in a text message, it's really never to your benefit to to talk.
And what I always thought, because I watched the first 48 and all,
all
like
the
that
things,
constantly.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like, does it almost make you look guilty if, you know, you're being interrogated, right? And
if you ask for an attorney?
If you ask for an attorney right away.
No.
Does that make you look guilty?
I mean,
because
obviously.
I'd be like, let me just say my piece. And then that's when I need to shut the fuck up.
No, that's a fair question. I think in law enforcement minds, they may think that makes you look guilty, but thankfully we have the Sixth Amendment that you are entitled to counsel, and the Fifth Amendment, you have the right to remain silent. So they can take it for whatever value they want to take it, but, you know, exercising those rights can't be used against you.
And, like, cops aren't trying to help you out in the middle of an investigation, you know?
Right.
Like, so, yeah, maybe they think that you're jumping the gun on asking for a lawyer, but, you know, that's not their concern.
And they're allowed to lie to you. They can make up things in hopes of eliciting an
No.
incriminating response,
they
and
can
that's
say-
permitted by law. So,
What, like somebody told us you did this?
or they can say,
somebody-
we have surveillance footage of you doing this thing with that not being the case, and then somebody's like, okay, dang it, you have it on video, I must have done it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can lie to you.
They can lie to you.
I did not
To try
know
to-
that.
Yeah.
That's what, like, interrogations are. They're trying to, like, suck the information out of you, whatever you're going to give them.
That should be a law that you can't lie.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But, like, our clients, her clients in particular, mine in particular, like, they have we tell them these things. We're like, hey, shut the fuck up Friday. You know what? We're going to go talk to the cops, or we're going to talk to the Department of Human Services, or we're going to talk to the judge or whatever. And don't say anything. Don't say shit. I'll talk for you. That's what you pay me a lot of money to do. I'll say the things. Madalia will say the things. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but I do have something to add. And we're like, no, you don't. Sit the fuck down. No, you don't.
I'm like, actually, can we take a little time out? We gotta cut the tape. But yeah, I mean, yeah, people can't. They are their own worst enemies.
Is that when sometimes you guys choose to not put people on the stand?
Do you ever put people on the stand?
In my defense career, have yet to put somebody on the stand during a trial.
Interesting.
And it is a decision that's a case-by-case basis. We prepare them as if they are going to testify, and sometimes it is we're making the judgment call mid-trial, and you want to do the least amount of harm, right? So if the prosecution case is not going well, we're not going to invite error, even if we do think it would be beneficial. But jurors are extremely judgmental. You know, they might say, oh, he said it this way and I didn't like that, or he seems nervous, he must have done something wrong, or, you know, there's a million things that they might think, but you enjoy the benefit of the presumption of innocence and not having to testify and that not being used against you. So unless it's a really dire situation, it's very rare somebody's going to take the stand.
And you just had, I know we can't get into like the specifics or names or anything, but like you just had a very big murder trial.
It was public.
A very well-known public murder trial here in Denver, and you worked your ass off and not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
So, how many years did you take on that? How many years was that?
That's a good question.
Because I think the incident said it happened in 2002.
No,
Maybe.
not
that long
Oh,
ago.
no, no.
But
Maybe
a couple years. I mean,
or no,
from,
I meant
by the time
2022.
something starts, you know, investigated, the charges are filed, and by the time it gets to an actual trial setting, it usually takes a couple years. It's, I mean, a lot of pressure on that. Obviously, they either never leave the courthouse or they walk out. And so very, very grateful the jury did the right thing.
And Madalia takes it seriously. Like,
I know.
I watched her trial, like, because it was live streamed, obviously, and she was crying, during closing. That shit is real.
Yeah, well, these people's lives depend on their defense. And their decisions. And their defense. I was also there for your outfits, by the way.
No.
Thank you.
But it's so true. Like, that's what I would like.
Yeah.
Kyle, you are so cut and dry. You're like Sarah.
You and I are a lot alike.
We're like I'm super freaking emotional. Anything can make me cry. Not saying that you guys don't care, but you guys are very cut and dry and to the fucking point. And like that's why. So like with you, like you get up there and you cry because you're emotional and you care. And I know you care, but you get up there and you just dominate like crazy. But like obviously we became friends with a close mutual friend of ours. Like, does it ever weigh on you with clients, even if they're not a close friend, like if they lose custody of their child, or like how? This is for both of you, but how do you guys go home if you lose and you care about this person? Like, how do you wake up and just keep doing it and keep going?
my answer is going to be different than hers.
It's going to be what I probably would think.
A martini.
I am a very like boundaried person with my clients, and obviously, our friend excluded, but like I realize like people are in a different situation when they come to me than if they come to Madalia. They come to me and I'm like, well, okay, I didn't choose to marry this person. I didn't create this relationship. I didn't make these parenting choices. Like, I don't have a magic wand to fix it and like change who you married or, the situation that you're in or the decisions you made with your finances. Like, I'm here to do the best that I can, but like, I'm in front of judges who might be pissed off one day or might have their own personal feelings. A lot of our judges have been divorced. So like, I just tell my clients, like, here's what I think I can get you. Here's how we're going to do it. This is how it's going to be. You like it or not. And this is what I can get you. And like,
exactly.
that is what it is. And so and I tell them like, okay, going to trial is going to cost you, X amount of money, or we can settle for this. Your choice. Like, but going into court, you could spend, $250K and not get this, where if we settle today, you might not get as much money as you wanted, but you're not going to spend it. And like, ultimately, they make the decisions, and I just go try to do what they want.
You just present the facts.
Yeah. That takes like a little pressure.
Yeah. But with like our friends, because we have 2 mutual friends now that I've represented, and I just can't lose those cases.
Yes,
like I just don't lose. I'm not losing those cases.
No, you can't, or your phone will never like.
I'm
stop.
not losing those cases. And like with our friend, we didn't. We clawed back because the case started out as shit show. And same with our other friend. Like that case started out as a shit show, and
the cards were stacked against both of them.
Yeah,
very hard, and there's a lot of eyes on both of those, and you turn them around fucking beautifully.
I feel like with like the family stuff, it's so drawn out just because of the court system naturally. Like I have a client who doesn't have a court date till February 2026.
Oh my God.
She's like, I can't get in before that, so none of this is going to be settled.
So now we can't close on their home.
Yep.
But it's the same thing, like very long and drawn out, and it's just like a waiting game, like within the court system in Colorado.
I did a divorce that took 6 years, start to finish. Could you imagine?
Is that because you do like high asset, high conflict, and they can get drawn out, and people are willing to pay you to draw shit out?
I mean, in part, not really this case. This case was just like a series of clusterfuck. Like the guy hired a lawyer that wasn't actually a lawyer, and she was practicing law. So that was like a whole thing. And then we had a private judge. Our judge died. Like it was just a series of crazy things.
Her
but
cases
like
are longer than most of my relationships.
Yeah.
Same bitch.
That's fine.
I tell my clients, like, a divorce is a roller coaster ride that you cannot get off until you both agree to get off or the judge lets you off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're on the shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're here.
Yep.
That's so
Back
true.
to you,
All
Miss
right.
Emotional.
Well,
Ass.
yes. The empath.
She's going to cry talking about it.
I know.
You
But
should know.
you're so
Yes.
passionate because you also are very passionate about the things going on in the world now. And I've been to a couple nonprofits with you, and you're in tears every fucking time.
I know. It's,
So-
my law partner, Doug, always jokes that I always have one trial cry, either like it's privately, just about like the fundamental unfairness of things.
Yeah.
I'm like, they have attorneys like us on the case and you have the means and the experts. And I just always think about all the people that don't have those things and how scary it is. And that was a big, push for me to be a defense attorney as well. But one of the number one quotes I always have to go back to from our mentor, David Schott, he said one time that has stuck with me is, you didn't start the fire. And so I just have to remind myself, like, to your point, I didn't get them in this situation, but I'm going to do everything I damn well know and can to help them. There's never going to be an attorney that knows more about the case than me. I watched every body cam. I know the timestamps of what's said at what point, what police report, what witness, so nobody's going to get us on that. And so, all we can do is control what we can do, which is preparation. So we bust our asses to put on the best case that we possibly can. And sometimes it ends up in a great result, and sometimes, the jury gets it wrong. And, those cases are the ones you learn the most from, obviously. But it's, it's devastating. You have somebody that's literally put their life in your hands, and, maybe they have to be incarcerated, or now they have a felony conviction that they didn't have before. That's going to change, the path of their life.
So how do you move on from that?
That's, girl, I wish I could. But
you hold it for some
I
time.
hold it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really difficult for me. I'm bad about the boundaries of shutting it off. I get very close to the clients because I always say, I'm like, okay, if this was my little brother, if this was my mom, or how would I want the attorney to handle this case or attack the case and prepare the case. And, you know, that's how I do it, for better or for worse.
Which you couldn't ask for anything more in an attorney, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But have you ever taken on a client who you're like, I don't really know if I should be representing this?
I get that question quite a bit. You know, my thought is, one, I guess from the private standpoint, public defenders don't have this luxury, but we get to pick our clientele. So a lot of times from the intake, I'm like, you know, I have a bad feeling about this person. And, you know, my boss always says, you know, regret not taking the case for 20 minutes or regret taking the case for 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that weeding out process up front that is just a gut check. Sometimes you can't know whether they're good or bad. But at the end of the day, everybody deserves a defense, right? And whether or not the prosecution can prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, that's their job. So you are, again, not the one that started the fire. You're helping them through the process. And a lot of the cases, you're getting a resolution or a plea that's, you know, getting it to the best place you can get it.
Yep.
And you have to have those hard conversations. Like, look, bud, you're on fucking video. There's not a whole lot I can do for you here, you know. Or, you know, just saying, look, there's unreasonable expectations sometimes for clients or people that will never take accountability. And so you do whatever you can, and sometimes you have a bumping of the head such that you withdraw from the case. I said, go ahead. If you think another attorney can do this better for you, it's just
good luck.
Good luck. I mean, good luck.
I can't.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe they can, you know, but those scenarios obviously happen. But I would say it's more common on the very low-level cases. That you have clients like that, but the very serious ones, they really, if there's not that kind of symbiosis and, you know, chemistry that they trust you and believe in you, it's very, very difficult to proceed. Yeah.
I love you guys. And just like, I feel like there's a lot of like misconceptions against lawyers too. I mean, I started out with it today. I was like, oh, they're women. Like, fuck me for saying that first and foremost. And you're hot. Like, what is some like misconceptions?
We are back in the Handmaidens too.
Yeah.
It's a different.
Great show, by the way.
show.
The last season just came out, PS. But like, how do you guys overcome those, or what are some that you get a lot?
I mean, that we get, I think of in part, like, I mean, I can't tell you. I've been a lawyer for, I don't know, I graduated in 2013, so for too fucking long, 12 years. And, like, I still get called, like, darling or honey or, like, my favorite. Sweetheart
like,
is the man, like, the opposing
So
attorney
annoying.
with an AOL account and a bar number of 1. And he's like, well, honey, I've been practicing for a long time. I'm like, yeah, we can tell, and it's time to go. Like, it's...
Did you dig up the laptop as a fossil, bitch? Leave it
Like, you know, like, the rules have changed. So, you gotta, you know, these older practicing male attorneys who just come in and they're like, oh, sweetheart, you know, like, let me tell you how it is. I'm like, okay,
Let me tell you
bro.
how it
like,
is.
you're literally transcribing, like, you're having somebody type up your motions for you. Like, get out of here. So it's, I think, just constantly, like, being underestimated as women, and I think relatively young women.
Yeah.
Like, we just
Yeah, like how long, like, I would look at you though and say like, if you're like, if I'm in a murderer,
Yes.
and I'm like, how did you just graduate yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
You know, like,
you just look at her and say that? Just look at her?
Fucking rude.
Yeah. She's like, I would look at you and
cheers
be
to
like, no, you're
longevity.
not qualified
Cheers
to.
to longevity.
But you look seasoned, bitch.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about...
because I focus my attention to
came
her.
No, I...
She's a good fucking arguer, dude.
We talk about, you know, making a career out of being underestimated. I used to get offended. Now I don't care. I said, just you wait till we call this case up on the record. And then we always joke. This still happens, not as frequently, but still maybe like 3 to 5 times a year.
shit,
I'll walk
this.
in as, because you know how powdery white Denver is. But I'll walk into a courtroom, suited up, standing where attorneys are standing, waiting for the case to get called up. And they're like, oh my God, thank God, we've been waiting hours for an interpreter. And I said, that's...
Oh,
and I say, okay.
Madalia.
I swear to God. And so my favorite thing now, though, is I'll just turn... I said, what about me makes you think I'm the interpreter? And they turned bright red. I said, exactly. Shut the fuck up. And so,
Shut the fuck up, Friday.
Shut the fuck up, Friday. You don't have to say anything. But I mean, it's one of those things. It's like they see a woman of some type of color walk into a courtroom and the presumption is I'm not the attorney. And I was
Right.
like, all right.
But that's kind of fun. I feel like if I was in your shoes, I'd be like, yeah, I fucking am the attorney.
And now watch, and now watch what I do.
Yeah.
Watch
Let
me
me
get a
translate
not
something for
guilty
you
of
real quick.
a murder. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
facts.
So, I mean, you can laugh at it now. You practice for long enough. I'm like, all right. Not a problem. But
Yeah.
What kind of things do you guys have to do to like keep up on the constant changing laws? Like, how do you keep up with all of that?
We're required to do CLEs. It's like a 3-year cycle, right? We have to have
45 hours.
45 hours every 3 years of continuing legal education.
That just goes through all the changes. Because I was like, all these older men who were, been it for years. I'm like, how do they know? That makes sense.
They don't.
They don't retain the knowledge.
They have their wives click through.
They have an Excel spreadsheet of the rules of evidence that they take up to the stand with them, like what happened in our case.
I mean, part of it too is just like on the fly, right? So if I'm on a criminal case and something about a jury instruction, there's a change in the case law about it, then you know that when you're researching and saying, I want to make this request in court, or you're filing motions and you learn about new cases. But we're very, obviously with the teaching, the rules of evidence is like our thing. We'll tell you the number, the subsection, what that stuff. So,
you guys you're always like, per statute 45671.1237B, and I'm like, how the fuck?
Obviously,
like what? What? You guys?
I mean, when we were like, this is so nerdy, but like when we were doing trial team, like one of the things we make our students do is start from. There's a shit ton of rules of evidence, right? They go from 100 to 1,000, and what's the last one? 1,009, something like that.
You have to know
every single rule, and we'll be like, all right, what's rule 106? What's rule 803? And our students have to like say them, and so like sometimes family law attorneys are generally like not great practitioners because these are bench trials. She does jury trials. I'm doing a trial to a judge. She's doing trial to a jury. None of my family law attorneys know the rules of evidence, so sometimes just to fuck with them, I'm like, objection 803. And they're like, what the fuck is 803? I'm like, no. I've had a judge be like, well, you should know this because you're a lawyer. But like, I mean,
What do you think? I have to ask this. I've sent you guys this. It was a TikTok once, and I know it's gotten around. You sent it to me once, too. It's like this guy, he's like, why isn't there just like a profession of jury dutyism? Yeah. Right? And it's like you can get like an Arby's team lead and it's like you just pick these random, just any walks of life. Like, and then you obviously have to go through and you weed people out and stuff. Is there like usually a method to your madness? Like if it
yes,
of course.
Yeah,
great
it's
question.
a lot of psychology.
Fun fact, on my murder trial, her husband was a prospective
yeah.
We're like, if we could please leave him. I'm just kidding. No, so he got kicked, obviously. They're like, any reason you can't be fair? He's like, she was a bridesmaid in my wedding.
That's crazy.
We put 2 and 2 together the night before. Teal was like, I've got jury duty.
And I was like, there's no way.
Wait, Monday? You got jury duty in Denver?
The girl who washes my dog got called into jury duty.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
So like Denver's small. But I mean, so here's the thing, right? It's a part of our civic duty. It's a total random lottery from your county where you live. And so I think it's good that we don't have these kind of professional jurors, right? Because that means you are more familiar or you have this experience that wouldn't come from your average citizen coming into the courtroom, right? So you get everybody from all walks of life, engineers, people that are teachers, people that hate law enforcement, people that hate defense attorneys. You get everything. And so on a high-profile case like that, we do questionnaires to weed out people that we know for sure there's no way either side we're going to do this. Like if they absolutely hate guns and there's no way they could ever be fair, you're gone.
Because it only takes one person not to agree to have like a mistrial or
exactly a hung jury in that instance. So really what we like to say is you are removing the poison. You're not actually picking people. So you're removing the bad to get to a panel that you think is going to give both sides a fair trial. And you do it to the best of your abilities, right? It's an imperfect science. Sometimes it's a gut feeling like that person has not looked at us once while we've been sitting here or I don't know. They'll say some stuff on their questionnaire, but
do you get to pick half and the other side gets to pick half? Okay.
So you go back and forth doing one kick at a time. So they'll kick the first one, then we'll kick one, and until you go back and forth until you have the final remaining panel.
So if there's somebody that absolutely hates guns, the other side will pick. Like, just say if that's...
But she can always kick, right? Like, she can kick that person. It's not like once you pick somebody, that person is there.
It's who's left. So you're not saying, I want this person to stay. You're kicking who you don't want.
You've never been through...
gamble. No, they don't want me.
You don't.
I actually feel like you'd be a good juror. You'd be a great juror.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Because you'd care. You'd look at the facts. Like, that's the thing.
I do give a shit.
Yeah, you'd care. You'd look through the facts. You'd follow the instructions, and I feel like...
But the only difference, I guess, is there's something called a Batson challenge. So if one side. So let's say I have a client that's of a certain race and they only kick the jurors that are that same race because they think they're going to be nicer to my client. You raise what's called a Batson challenge and say, Your Honor, they're obviously kicking these people for racial reasons.
Okay.
And then if the court agrees, then those people stay on the jury and are not kicked.
So you have to give them a reason to kick.
So so there's presumptive ones where you don't have to give the reason unless it's challenged, and then the rest, if it's a for-cause kick, that means the judge just removes them, then we fill them in. That's why we call so many people. You might think it's a waste. It's like there's 80 people when we only need 12, and it's for reasons like that. We'll keep kicking and kicking and filling until we reach the final amount.
Jury selection is like a whole thing. It's like
it's an art.
Its own skill.
You don't have to do that for family though, correct?
I don't no. I've done jury trials and I've done it before, but we don't do any jury trials.
So you are really working a jury and you're working a judge.
Correct. Yeah. With my charming personality.
No, Judge, you're wrong. Oh my Kyle,
take my class.
Sit down, Kyle.
Take my class.
Imagine.
I mean, I kind of want to get into the nitty gritty because being a lawyer, criminal, family, like and seeing what you guys have been through this last year and a half, like I know you must all have some crazy fucking stories.
Sure.
Like that's what it like. I don't know what kind of details you can go into. I know you can't do like names and shit, but like what is some crazy stuff that you guys like come across?
You want to start?
Well, this morning when I was thinking about this, I'm like sitting at my desk. I'm like, all right, what are some of my craziest stories? Because I have like a lot, but some are too complicated to tell and would identify people, and so I couldn't do those. But as I'm sitting there, one of my attorneys comes in. She's like, hey, I really need to talk to you about this one case. Referral to me that I passed off to another lawyer.
And this was this morning.
And I'm supervising this younger attorney, and she's like, I got to talk to you about this case. Our client has to do a hair follicle test before he can see the kids because there's concerns about drug use. And our client's been like, yeah, I'm totally going to be clean. Like, no problem. Which is like always a red flag. And so I'm like, all right, let's go do this hair follicle test.
Perfect.
We get the hair follicle test. Like, Kayla comes in and she's like, hey, it's hot for meth. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. What's his excuse for meth? Like, what do you mean? I don't see meth often. Like Coke, marijuana, like I'll see Adderall, that pops. Meth, that's honestly like a first for me.
Kyle's like, not even once. I was like,
and she goes, well, he said that his wife must have been putting the meth in the salt shaker before she left. I'm like,
of course.
Bro.
Dude, even James.
Like,
I mean.
Come on. And then he took the story.
Shaker. I could see it though because you brought it up.
How do you know, bitch?
So this is why we tell people not to speak to the police.
Shut the fuck
I'm like, I see it though, because if it's one of the grinders, like you could just they live like little shards.
I'm like, we couldn't have, I don't know, like, I guess that's the best excuse you can come up with, right? Like, there's no better explanation. But then he took the lie further because we questioned him. We're like, all right. So meth is kind of a non-negotiable for our judges.
You think.
You know, we're probably going to need another, 6 months. We're going to need some time here. Like, this is what I mean. I don't have a magic wand. And he's like, well, I think we got to check the kids because they've been having the salt, too. I'm like, dude, the kids aren't on meth either. Like, can we just chill the fuck out? Like,
can you test the kids, though?
Oh, my God.
Probably.
Because what if?
No way. Although,
I'm sorry.
Could you imagine?
I think unreasonable doubt.
That's why you'd be
beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes,
You'd be a bad attorney because you believe everything and everybody.
There's no way. I'm like, you just did meth. Like, that's what happened. But this leads me to my second story. I have had an opposing party poisoning a client of mine with her shit. I swear to God.
Like feces?
Yep. She was. And how we found, he was like, I think she's poisoning me. I think she's poisoning me. Like, she's putting something in my food. And I'm like, okay, I feel like maybe we have some mental health issues. This is paranoia. There's no fucking way she's poisoning you. I swear to God. Both cops. And I'm like, there's no way. And he finds a phone. He finds a phone in his daughter's bedroom, and it's a video where an opposing party has recorded herself taking a shit in a cup and is microdosing, for lack of a better word, this man with her shit, poisoning him.
She said, one girl, one cup.
What do I do with this?
Film it.
What do I do?
Why film
Why film it?
She probably has some sick
on the daughter's phone. I'm like, what do I do with this? How do I walk into court with this?
Your Honor.
Your Honor, I do need to raise a preliminary matter with you.
Not one, but two.
I'm telling you, dude, she's so fucking witty. Oh my god.
So like those were awesome cases.
That's funny.
God, how does feces poison though?
Well, you're not supposed to eat it.
But is it lethal?
I mean, I don't think it makes you like well. Like he was just like sick like all the time, like sick.
Can you not taste it?
I was just gonna ask. I might
Because could you not taste it?
I don't know. It was
Don't
crazy.
ask questions,
We had like
beyond.
a whole trial on this because there were other things going on. She was like shaving the kid's head to like this like literally down to like the scalp almost, like wounds on the kid's head because she was convinced that they had like bugs. I don't know. The whole
I would have
thing was
loved to see
weird.
her face when you like pulled up the video. Like this is what.
Yeah,
she's been doing.
she doesn't have parenting time with the kids
Thank
right
the
now.
Lord.
I was gonna say. So yeah, the poisoning is real.
Yeah.
It is real.
Wow.
And then Madalia and I had a case super early on in our career together that was real fucked up.
When I was a DA.
Madalia was a prosecutor at the time.
Ooh.
And I had a client who was a friend of a family friend, and she came to me and had already been divorced. But in Colorado, if you don't disclose like any financial something in the middle of your divorce, you can reopen the divorce case for a period of 5 years and like reopen the whole thing and be like, let's value that business that you didn't disclose, whatever. So she hires me to do this case, and she kind of like goes dark, and we can't get in touch with her. And I get a call from opposing counsel, and he's like, hey, have you talked to your client? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I just got a call from the cops, and she's in the emergency room. Her and the opposing party are both in the emergency room. They're in the ICU. We don't know what happened. Here's the detective's number. And it's an Adams County case.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, domestic violence is real. We find out that he was so pissed at her for reopening the divorce case and was worried she was going to take all his money. He shows up at her house, where she lived with her 18-year-old son, and she's outside at her car, and he pulls up next to her, beats her with a hammer, runs over her with his car, and leaves her for dead. Then goes and like hides in a hotel room and like claims that a prostitute beat him up. Anyways, the cops find him, and he's charged with, or my client did not die. She's in a coma for like 6 months.
Oh my
He's
God.
charged with first-degree attempt murder, and guess who the prosecutor is on the other side?
Well, it was my
One of the
supervisor.
prosecutors.
But
Yeah.
Yes, but yes, isn't that crazy? Is to say she's like,
Yeah.
do you happen to know anything about this? I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's so scary.
She didn't. Is she okay now?
Yeah. She survived, and he's in jail for life.
Did you put him there?
Well, I didn't, but
Her
yes,
and- yeah, her
our office
team.
did, but
Yeah.
yes, they did, but it's I mean,
He could
people
get
always
out.
think criminal law, we were talking about this earlier, is so contentious, but divorce gets so out of hand, and the lengths people are willing to go when they think that they've been slighted, it's just really scary.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, people hire private investigators.
Yeah.
They
You're-
do.
You're
do indeed.
you're followed. You're recorded. Like people, like they bring kids into it. Like it gets nasty, and especially when it comes down to financials, or even not financials and custody.
Yeah.
Like people will go to lengths to fuck that person over or run them over.
It was so crazy. Honestly,
Insane.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like domestic violence is a significant piece of what we do, and oftentimes like what Madalia gets brought in to do, and there's like DV allegations, and it's a real complicated animal, especially when there's DV involved, and you're talking about taking kids away, you're talking about taking somebody's money away, their livelihood away. Like people will stop at nothing.
Yeah, well, and domestic violence is interesting, right? So by the time somebody gets charged with it, the nuance involved in it is sometimes they are the person that has had it perpetrated against them for a long time, and then they finally do something back, and then sure enough that person calls the cops because the leverage associated with having the criminal case pending, and then those attorneys then turn into the divorce case and say, Your Honor, they've been charged with assault, And so it just becomes this thing where people are using the criminal justice system to have, a means to an end for custody purposes.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been like scared for your own lives?
Good question.
Yeah,
Good
you know what I
question.
mean, like
question.
from another party that like didn't go well for them.
Yes. Interesting fact. Family law attorneys are the most murdered attorneys.
Girl.
Because you're fucking with people's lives.
Yeah.
We've had protection orders against opposing parties. We once got paid. We won an award of attorney fees against an opposing party personally. So he had to pay my office money. He showed up to our office, banker's boxes of pennies to it wasn't a lot. He owed us like $5,000, like not much, in fucking pennies and dimes and quarters and shit.
That's hilarious.
It was until he shows up, he takes the boxes and he starts fucking dumping them all over our office, dumped it over my receptionist's head.
Oh my God.
That's, oh yeah. So then we got a protection order against him.
Crazy. What an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, crazy.
Kyle's
scary.
like, if you're broke, just say that.
Yeah. A long time ago, a family law attorney got murdered in her office.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
Shit is crazy because people are.
Yeah, well, you would piss me off. Like, if you were working on the other side for me.
fair.
But no, it's true,
That's
though.
fair.
Because in the both cases that I've seen you in, if I was on the other side, I would fucking hate you. Like, no, I'm serious. I would.
Yeah.
I would. What about you, Mads? Have you ever had, like, I mean, can you kind of share some crazy stories? Or have you had anybody go nuts on you? I know you can't share much.
But you think about like the families, like if you're, the other side of the families, like.
So
'Cause that's
let's see.
emotional.
Yeah, look, I mean, as a DA, I think probably those cases sometimes you can get targeted or people coming after you. Since being a defense attorney, when I first started, we had a very high-profile case that was a murder case. That was, there are people that felt very strongly about the victim who would have definitely stormed January 6th if he was alive. And so basically we kept getting these like hate calls to the office or people making threats or showing up on the virtual courts and watching and monitoring and things like that. So I wouldn't say I've gotten any kind of direct threats. I have had an alleged victim on a case make a TikTok about me because she knows I was watching her.
Yes. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Because I mean, part of the case, when we're doing a comprehensive investigation, is if you're going to put some shit online, I'm going to find it, and those are things that are going to come up on cross-examination if you're talking about the case.
Yep.
And so, they knew that I was looking at every video, collecting it, whatever. So at one point, they made this video, and I was like, "There's no such thing as bad press, sweetie." I'm like, "That's fine." But she goes, "This is for so-and-so's attorneys." She's like, "If you're such a loser that you have to pay off your student loan debt by like defending people like this, Merry Christmas, bitch," and like all this. It was crazy, and I loved it. I was like, "That's
You're like, repost.
Thank you. Thank you. Love to see it."
Can you link this to my firm site, please? It'd be so great for my SEO.
I mean, yeah, that's literally. So we get some stuff like that. You get sometimes heckling during trials, from family members of alleged victims that are upset about the proceedings, or take to Facebook to write a post about how angry and how much they hate you as the defense attorney. I mean, it is what it is, but thankfully, knock on wood, I also just bought a gun, so don't play with
Watch out.
No,
Watch out.
but no, I mean, obviously that's always a part of the equation. Is just making sure that you're smart. Traveling. We travel in packs. I feel like we're
I was
with
going
our
to say, do you like leave the
co-counsels.
courtrooms together after like a really heated?
We do. Like we'll have cops sometimes escort us out. I've had cops take me, especially when I've had like really violent domestic violence cases, and like I did one like that was really, really horrible, and he kept violating the protection order, and he had like brutally assaulted our client like a couple times, and so cops will take us in and out.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people yell at us outside.
Yeah.
So I've had opposing parties yell at me outside.
Have you had like mid-2? I've had I had an attempt murder case in Fort Collins not too long ago. But the mother of the alleged victim mid-trial came up to me and like tried to say something to me and like get in my face, and the judge was like, "Abso-fucking-lutely not. Like, we're not doing this. If you try to record them or talk to the attorneys, you're going to get kicked out of the courtroom."
Yeah.
So that stuff happens for sure.
Yeah, people are just high emotions, and
It's getting worse and worse every year. I feel like everyone's just getting more unhinged.
It's true.
It's just, like, people are going crazy.
After COVID, did you see more divorces? Like, did that boom your business, which is kind of fucked up?
I know. When people ask me, they're like, "Are you busy?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's kind of a depressing answer, but I'm fucking swamped."
And I was like, I will tell my mom, this is why I haven't gotten married yet. Like, the odds are not great, okay?
50-50. It's still, the thing about divorce is, like, they are so stable. Like, divorces operate right around, like, 50%, sometimes 51, 49, but, like, you know, odds are, like, your friends are all, like, getting divorced, you know? So, and, like, the thing about COVID, I think people were used to not living with each other, right? They weren't used to interacting on a daily basis.
And going out to their own places
Yeah,
of
they
work.
go to their own place. They travel for work. They weren't working in their house, like, with their kids. And so COVID happens, and the divorces increased, but, like, the hatred and, like, the vitriol that came from those divorces was, like, crazy. And that coupled with, like, I had been an attorney for 7 years at that point, or roughly, and they tell you, like, that's kind of when your book of business turns over, because your clients become repeat clients, and your friends are like,
Kyle has a punch card at her firm. She's like, is this your second or third divorce?
No, I tell my clients that. I'm like, look, your second divorce, it's not a buy one, get one free. If anything, it's going to be more expensive because my rate has risen.
So, like, it's like you didn't learn your lesson the first time. Clearly.
So, the cases were, like, so horrible. I think the attorneys were so horrible. Like, people just hated each other, and they were generally, like, miserable in their lives, which, like, fair. But yeah.
Did you see any kind of difference? I mean, people always are committing
They were just inside too much.
Yeah, crime is also a
nuts.
thing that's not going to go away anytime soon, right? But I don't know. I mean,
When did you go to Richards Carrington?
I started October of 2020, so just kind of in the thick of COVID times. I mean, the type of crime changed. I mean, a lot of domestic violence from people being in closed spaces, for sure. I also think a lot of desperation, right? People got laid off, you know. You see a lot of thefts or drugs or things like that.
What's the lowest thing that your firm will do? Maybe like a DUI, or is it more intense?
That's a really good question. If a case comes in through, like, a referral or somebody that I know, I will still do DUIs and things like that on occasion, but really we specialize predominantly in kind of these high-level felony cases, federal cases. But obviously call us and we'll see. Yeah. But you never know, right?
She takes all my calls. I'm like, hey, my client got a DUI, or my client got arrested, or
look, there are firms that their entire practice is DUI. Like, those are the guys to go to that. If you've been self-defense, come to your girl.
And I gotta ask you guys, because I always thought this, because I would walk into the courtroom for my friend and I would get a lot of anxiety and I would be very, very nervous.
Yes.
Do you guys, I know you've done it for a long time, but do you guys ever get nervous just to speak because you know you have eyes on you? Like, how do you navigate?
I always get nervous, and I say, if you're not nervous, you don't care. And so Kyle's like,
I love her.
I don't get nervous.
Well, I get nervous. I mean, it's once you get the first words out. So, like, I am usually the person that does opening statement with.
And you have that big streaming, like, a lot of people watch.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So,
yours.
I mean,
you have a lot of eyes on
you get nervous when you get the first couple words out, and then it's like, you know, like riding a bicycle. You're so used to it. I'm not scared of the public speaking. It's just, you know, that there's so much hanging on it that you want to get it right. So, I'm, of course, nervous. And then the most nervous thing as a defense attorney is, you know, when the judge has you stand with your client for the verdict. Yeah. And I mean, the homicide trial, the client who literally his life is on the line was like comforting me because I was like, I was shaking. I was like visibly shaking at the table because I'm like, your life is going to change one way or the other right now. So you stand up and you wait. And so when she said,
I would faint.
I can't.
Well, because you hear
the
for like the not, or it's just like guilt. And like she said not, I just like blacked out.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure.
Can't hear anything. So that's probably the most nerve-wracking, you know, if the jury, they're allowed to ask questions. So if they ask a question that's not good, you're like, shit. Like, what do we do now? And you have to just wait and wait and wait. So yeah, verdicts are very nerve-wracking.
I would pass out.
I can't.
I would faint.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Kyle doesn't get nervous.
Okay, that's fair. I don't get nervous. Look, to me, it's the same way as like when I was playing a soccer game. You're not, I can't describe it. You're not like nervous. You're like, your adrenaline is going. Your adrenaline is pumping. Like to me, this was like the perfect replacement for competitive sports in my
For
opinion.
sure. For
So
sure.
like it's just that same feeling. Like I still go about like my trial preps like the same way I went about like playing soccer to some extent. Like I have my routine. I have my like.
What is that? That's what I want to know. That was going to be one of my questions is like, what in specific do you guys do before, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, before big trials that like, pump you up and get you ready and you're like, I'm going to fucking kill this. Like, do you guys have any
I listen to my trial playlist. Which
some mom spaghetti on the way to court. I'm like, let's fucking go.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, which is now going to include Miss Whitman.
Yeah, we gotta have Miss Whitman.
Yes.
I listen to my trial playlist. I do like a closing argument in my head because I don't typically write out my closing arguments. Like
you just wing it?
I bullet point or I think of them in my head, but like I do like a real aggressive like I'm up here closing argument because that just helps me like put the story together because the trial is just storytelling. Like, can you tell a good story? Can you put the facts together to come up with something that everyone can latch onto and relate to? So I just put that story in my head and I'm like, great, every question I'm going to ask, everything I'm going to do, every objection I'm going to make, like, is going to fit this story. And then I just... And I pick out a great outfit.
Yes, you do.
Stylish. Fresh to death.
Fresh.
Stylish. That's another one thing about you ladies is you guys always dress to freaking impress every time.
No, we should run our shopping through our businesses. Like, it should be a fucking legitimate business
It
expense.
really
Has like linked to the
should.
storefront.
But it's true. Like, I'm like, damn, I pick out an outfit.
We have no business
We
profits.
said serving looks and justice at all times. At all times. Yeah.
Well,
That's funny.
speaking of
What's yours? Is it just M&M's?
Oh no.
M&M's song?
So I will say one thing I'm really proud of what our firm does is before any trial, we always do a mock trial. So we'll put out a Craigslist ad. We'll get fake jurors.
so
we have
crazy.
an
I love
entire
this.
basement set up for a mock trial. Basically like a focus group. And so we put on our worst case, like what is the best version of the prosecution's case because we want to learn from it. So we try to get what would be a sample size of jurors from that jurisdiction. We do opening statements, we play video clips, we have our client testify to see if they like them or not, and we record the whole thing, and then we go through it with the client and say, okay, look, juries really liked you. They didn't like you. They focused on this one thing we never thought was an issue at all because we're so close to the case. So we learn a lot about our case doing that. And then
Do you pay them?
Yeah, they get paid for the day.
I want to do that.
come.
We should do that one day.
Oh, yeah.
We should,
Well, you guys
right?
wouldn't be
biased.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You guys would be like the girls in Legally Blonde in the
Back.
We would, dude. I'm such a fan of you. That's cool. And so
Yes.
it really gets them prepared too and how to answer questions and what to do and what
We
not
did
to
that
do.
with our with
we did
friend.
prep.
We did.
With a friend.
So yeah, so it's good. I mean, honestly, for us, it's such a laborious, working through all of the discovery, filing the motion. So by the time we walk into the courtroom, I mean, there's nothing we are unsure of. It's just okay. Now we're going to perform and do it. Yep.
Well, guys, we have like a minute left, so I would like a closing statement from each one of you.
Oh, girl, she's gonna wing it.
Anything you want anybody to know, or any like
Oh,
reflections on
just
anything?
don't get divorced. They're expensive.
Or if you do, go to Kyle.
And if you do have to, I mean, I tell my clients, like, you can put your kid through college or you can put my kid through college. It's just like, it is what it is.
Damn, dog.
I would say, at least from the defense standpoint, there's this misconception when you call attorneys that if you don't give them the full story or if they think that you're a bad person, they're not going to represent you. I cannot do my job unless you tell me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help
and
me
I will
God.
be, exactly. And I want the transparency, and things always come out later, so don't do yourself the disservice. But yeah, I mean, I think
Help
just
us help you.
help us help you, exactly.
Right?
And it's just a gut check too. I always say when you're picking an attorney, whether it's for divorce or for criminal law, it's almost like speed dating. It's you have a short window of time to pick somebody that you trust and like, and so really just go with that. And oftentimes, I hate to say, but you get what you pay for. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, this attorney said they would do it for."
Yeah, I
God
know.
bless.
Yeah.
I
So
love
true.
it.
That's
It's-
your life.
It's, you don't
You
want to
get what you pay for.
That.
That's what we say in our business too, because you could shop
Yep.
right somebody. It's like you get what you pay
You
for.
get what you pay for.
You really, truly,
It's
truly
true.
do.
Well, there's
Some
the exception.
Yeah.
Yes, there is
Yes.
an exception to that.
Find yourself a very educated lawyer. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, ladies,
Yeah,
for being
so
you guys.
You guys
We
have a great
have-
podcast. We love it.
yes.
Thank you. But we have Madalia Maaliki with Richards Carrington. You could find her online
On all
because
the
you could
things.
Google. She
And
also has a great Instagram. She's very outspoken. So if you want to hear what somebody of her stature has to say, I would say follow her on Instagram because she's wonderful. And same with Kyle McFarlane at BAM Law Firm, owner. Yep. She's a fucking badass. So thank you guys. Don't bill us for your hours.
This is free
today. Pro bono. Pro bono. But thank you guys so much for being on.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. We out.
Thank you so much for listening. This is From the Ground Up. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and check back next Monday for the next episode.